Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. And we have a number of great topics that we're covering today. Later on in the show, there is someone who's making the claim that Bank of America may be alleged in a major rental scam. And that's coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada. It'll be interesting to see that story, and we'll talk to you about that a little bit later. We're going to be talking about a gentleman who has a website, and surprisingly enough, it's just kind of a complaint blog, and lawsuits have been involved, and I imagine that, a lawsuit, because he's angry with his homeowners association. We're going to talk about that. But right now, we're happy to have on the show with us this morning the mayor of the city of Oak Grove, His Honor Mark Corin. Hello, Mark.
Well, hello there.
Hi, Mark. Welcome.
Well, thanks, Gene and Tony, for allowing me to visit with you for a while.
Yeah.
Now, you are this is your first term in being the mayor of Oak Grove. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was elected in the last election, but I was a city council member for 2 years before that.
Okay.
And then I was actually the planning commission chair for approximately 15 years before that. And I was on the Parks Commission, so I know how the system works.
You've been involved with the city for a long, long time.
Yeah,
How large is Oak Grove? What's the population?
Well, we're a northern Anoka County suburb. It's a bedroom community. We have a mix of suburbs, farm fields, businesses. It's a really, really nice community.
Uh-huh. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, what's the percentage of rental property in Oak Grove?
You know, we don't have, I was just thinking about that. We have the Lakes of Oak George, which is a senior community.
Okay.
But we don't have any townhome association.
Okay.
There is some townhomes we have 2 golf courses, the Ponds Golf Course, and they have some townhomes, but it's just joint dual homes.
Okay. And how about rental communities, like apartment buildings or that kind of thing?
There is none.
Okay, interesting.
Other than the Oaks of Lake George.
So, how many folks live in Oak Grove?
Just under 8,500.
8,500.
Right, good
and what is the yearly budget for the city?
It was $3.2 million.
Okay.
And what do you expect to happen?
Well, being a very fiscal conservative person, it's taken a lot of work just to hold our budget and our levy for the last 2 years at 0% increases and looking at reorganizing in staff. With new leadership, new conservative leadership compared to the past leadership, we asked the questions and said, do we really need these positions? With housing in 2006 and 2007, where we'd have 90 to 110 homes typically built a year, subdivisions, people buying up 40 acres and subdividing, and that dropped off to 3 homes per year. Why do you need 2 inspectors? Why do you need a inside building official? Why do we started asking all those important questions.
Okay. Very interesting. And I admire it very much.
So you take a look at the economic climate that everybody is in, and you say this city's government, we've got to hold things. We're not going to talk about anything new, and we need to take a look at what we can do to try and be more efficient, get more value for the money that is being spent. Is that correct?
In the private sector, we're asked and told to do that constantly by all my customers.
Yep.
Government has to reduce spending, not just because of the economy, but I've been a firm believer of government needs to be in the background, not in the forefront.
Yeah, I really appreciate that conservative approach. I can't imagine or maybe you can tell me, how difficult was it? Because I can see what happened here is you eliminated some positions, right? And my experience with government is once there's a department or an agency or a position there, it will never go away because people are not going to give it up.
Tony, you have no idea how difficult it is going into a situation as we're an outsider. We're just business people, homeowners, residents of our cities, our state, our county, and then I get elected as a representative of my citizens, and I go in there and I start asking the questions, and then you hear things like, "This is the way it's done in government.
Oh, yeah.
This is the way we do things."
And that's given as the explanation, right?
Oh,
because that's the way it's been done.
That's the way it's been done.
It's like Mom and Dad said, "Because I told you so."
Yeah.
I had a city council member once tell me, "That's what government does, is spend the money. You better get used to it."
Oh, man. It would actually be rather benign if that's all they did. The problem is they're always then asking for more money and increasing the costs.
Well, and then the argument that you get also is, well, it's only 50 cents a person per household per day, or
sure.
And I'm like, that would be fine if that's the only 50 cents per person per household that I had to pay.
That's a great point. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Now, in the economic climate that we're in, too, unemployment is real high. When you take a look at trying to make things more efficient and put conceivably some jobs together, you're talking about cutting. So, what do you say to folks who say in this climate of unemployment, government should be helping to create jobs, not create more unemployment by firing folks?
That's just lunacy.
Tell me what you really think, Mark.
Yeah, well, I am who I am.
Right.
And I say what I really believe. And as a business owner, I would love the government to get out of my hair and allow me to keep more of our money so that I can share it with my employees.
Sure. There's a difference between a government job and a job that's producing something in the economy. Am I right?
Oh.
So when we're talking about creating jobs, we're talking about productive jobs.
Productive jobs.
Right.
And that it is an interesting dynamic where our current leadership thinks that we'll just put people to work in government. We'll just hire more people and get them off the unemployment rolls. But what's happening is that you spend more. Where's that money coming from? I have a saying that just because I have the legal right to stick my hands in your pockets doesn't make it ethical for me to continue to do it unwisely.
Well, I'm going to needlepoint that and frame it.
So Mark, let's go back to this notion. You talked about the difference that people have in expectations between private sector, public sector. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit more. What are some of the big differences where people may give have a greater expectation for one or give someone else a pass?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question because as a business owner, I have a responsibility to take the money that I earned, saved, borrowed, begged for, and invest it in a product, an idea, or concept, and hire people to build that product, and hopefully my risk of that money will come back in the products or the services that I provide. Mm-hmm. In government, it's basically how can I build a fiefdom that I can grow the number of people to do the services that everybody wants stuff for free. Mm-hmm. And my father brought us up in the fact that if you want something in this life, you work for it. Mm-hmm. If you want more, you work harder. Uh-huh. In government, it's my observation, and one of the things we haven't talked about is I did have an opportunity to be on the inside, where our city administrator resigned. She resigned knowing that the climate's changing in our management or our city council. Uh-huh. and I offered to do the work as the city administrator for free.
Right. I saw that in your newsletter. You offered to do that on a temporary basis until you could your council could review the budget and make some decisions, right?
Right. And it was really more of an eye-opener for me and the rest of the council, because I always wondered how many of our founding fathers have had administrators and assistants and allowed our country to be run by this group that we now call our government. It's like a third party that we've allowed to become self-aware, and now they've created this environment to continue to grow.
And generally, they're not elected, are they?
No.
Well, let's pick up on that, and I'd like to find out a little bit more about what were some of the things that you saw in the city of Oak Grove, and were able to see some major cuts. But we need to take a break right now. We'll be back, folks, in just a few minutes. Our interview with Mayor Mark Korn from the city of Oak Grove. Back after this.